interview process for sales reps. So the objective here is to build a value-aligned, predictable hiring system for bringing on exceptional sales reps. And we do this by evaluating character, skill, and how well they fit the role by taking them through a clear 3-level interview process. Hiring the right salesperson directly impacts your revenue, your client experience, and your overall team culture. It is a very integral part of building your company. So a 3-level interview process might seem extreme, but this sequence ensures that you are assessing alignment, ability, and performance before ever extending an offer to anyone. And this protects your business from mishires, from embarrassment, and it will help you confidently choose the right candidate. So how does the 3-level interview process work? Level 1 is the very first interview, and this is where you're going to be evaluating their alignment with your values, your company values, as well as your company culture. Now, this interview can be hosted either one-on-one or in a group setting. The group setting is incredibly powerful because you can have 10, 12, 13 people on a group call. And in 1 hour, you have, say, 3 or 4 people that you're ready to move to the next level. Trying to interview that many candidates one-on-one can take a week. So a group interview for the level 1 is highly recommended. A couple of tips for a group interview to make it a little bit easier. Whether it's one-on-one or a group interview, we recommend that you have 2 people on this level 1 interview, 2 people from your team. One person is asking the questions and kind of leading the call, while also taking notes, but more high-level notes. The second person is really tuning in, really paying attention, really taking in-depth notes. Another tip is for the person that's running the call who's asking the questions, I recommend having a document open on your computer or even a sheet of paper next to you with a pencil and just writing out the name of each person that's on the call, and then under their name, the questions that you're going to ask them with a little space underneath so that you can just type in or write your high-level notes. When I lead these, I will typically do a round robin style of question. So I'll call a person's name and I'll ask them the question. And I might ask the same question of 3 people at the most, taking down some high-level notes about their answers, mostly looking for red flags and anything that really stands out, because I have my other teammate on this call who's the one that's really tuning in and listening to all of the little details. And then after I ask the same question of 2 to 3 people, I'll pick a different question in the list and ask the next 2 or 3 people the other question. Because if you're hosting a group call with 12 people, you don't want the 12th person to have had all this time to prepare their answer to your question. And then another thing is that I always choose a different person to be first when I ask a new question. There is one question that I hold until the end, and I ask everybody that question back to back. And that question is, to the extent that you're willing to share, please tell us about a time in your life that changed the way that you thought about the world or your perspective, and how you've implemented that learning since then. And that question really is for us to learn, is this person able to be vulnerable and share about difficult things in their life? Because that's going to tell us if they can hold space for our clients on a call to share and be vulnerable about difficult things going on in their lives. So with just a bit of organization, a group interview can be amazing for getting a lot of really great information about a lot of people in a short amount of time. In my experience, there's typically 2 to 4 people from a group call that really stand out that we invite to the next level, level 2 of this interview process. So at the end of level 1, we always send an email and say, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciated meeting you. And then we let them know if they're moving to the next level or not. And if they are moving to the next level, that in that email, we attach our sales script and we tell them, congratulations, you've made it to level 2 of our interview process. During this level 2 call, it will be a mock sales call. Please review our attached sales script and be prepared. Most of the time, we try to book that call, level 2 call, the next day no more than 48 hours after the level 1 call. And the reason for that is because we really want to know if these people are dedicated and passionate about working with our company. We don't expect that they're going to be able to come to the call, knock it out of the park, and know the sales script inside and out. But it becomes very obvious which ones actually studied and put in the time and energy and which ones didn't. So again, on this level 2 call, we have 2 people from our team. One of them acts as the lead, and the other one takes notes and pays attention and really tunes in. Typically, the owner is going to be on this call if there isn't a sales manager, and either the sales manager or the owner is going to be the one taking the notes, really paying attention, and being prepared to give this person feedback at the end of the call. Because you really want this to be a good use of everybody's time, and a prospective sales rep, a good one, is always going to appreciate feedback from any sales call. So you really want to be tuning into their communication skills, their confidence, their ability to follow the framework inside of the script, little signs that show they really studied the sales script. The person from your team playing the lead should be prepared to be a little bit challenging, just enough so that the candidate has to think on their feet and really show their problem-solving skills. And then at the end, when they're receiving feedback about their performance in this mock call, you really want to tune into their coachability, their level of emotional intelligence. How open are they to receiving this feedback? These mock call interviews are the most telling level of our entire interview process, and that's by design. Giving them the sales script in advance, but not with so much advance notice that they're able to study it and really know it inside and out, but rather just enough notice for them to show us how much dedication and motivation they have to be part of our team. Knowing that they are being evaluated while they're doing the mock call by either the owner of the company or the sales manager, who, by the way, at this point has their camera turned off and is just listening. Having the person play the lead be just enough difficult to force the candidate to think on their feet, to lean into the parts of the script that they remember and help keep the call on track. And all of this just 1 to 2 days after they attended either a group interview or a one-on-one interview where they were asked to be a bit vulnerable. All of these steps create an experience that allows the company to evaluate this candidate not only on their level of skill, but more importantly on their character. So after the mock call happens and the feedback is given and everybody says goodbye and signs off, the sales manager or the owner and the other person from the team, typically the business manager on our team, have a meeting and compare notes and decide which candidate or candidates should move forward to the next level. 99.9% of the time, there is a standout from the group interview or the one-on-one interviews, who then is a standout in the mock call, who then becomes the one person that's invited for the level 3 scorecard review. Occasionally, there have been more than one candidate that continues to be a standout, in which case we would just schedule an additional mock call and the lead would just be that much more difficult. And the level 3 interview, the scorecard review, is typically hosted by the owner of the company if the sales manager has been hosting the other interview levels. This is an opportunity for the owner to have some one-on-one time and conversation with the candidate. They'll go through the role-specific scorecard, walk through KPIs and responsibilities, any metrics for the role, talk about compensation, what the expectations are, answer any questions that the candidate has. And then if everything is aligned, the owner will extend an official offer on this call, on the level 3 call. And then within 1 week of the offer being extended, the sales rep onboarding process begins. So your next steps to begin your sales rep interview process: first, check your calendar and schedule these interview blocks. 3-level interview process is pretty lengthy, but it's also best if it happens in a condensed period of time. So if you're going to be on all of these interviews and you're going to do level 1 as one-on-one rather than group, you want to make sure that you have the time available so that there's no more than 48 hours between level 1 and level 2. The mock call is level 2. Next, you want to prepare your interview assets. So make sure that you have the interview questions. You've gone over the sales script and made any changes or additions so that it's ready to be attached to an email when you invite folks to level 2. You have the scorecard, the KPIs, the metrics all dialed in preparation for that level 3 meeting. If you do have anybody on your team who's going to be helping you with this, make sure that you loop them in and that the two of you coordinate your calendars and block out the times for when you're going to have which interviews. And then finally, your last action item here is to contact your candidates and invite them to your first interview, whether it's going to be a group or one-on-one. If it's a group, obviously they all need the one Zoom link or the Calendly link. If it's one-on-one, then you want to make sure to get them all of the contact information that they need. And have fun. This process can be really enjoyable. The group call is always super fun, that level 1 group call. And it's always really neat to meet all of these new people and learn what brought them to your company, to the job posting, and what they can bring to the table. So enjoy.